Hi, Rebecca. I know you are a town meeting member and a founding member of Equal Justice in Needham. But beyond that, what do you want people to know about you?
I'm Rebecca Waber. I live over near Newman Elementary. My family, I've recently learned, we actually have ties to Needham that go back about 80 years. Although I've lived here just 6 since my youngest was born. I live with my husband, Ben. We have 2 kids who are 10 and 6 tomorrow, and our 2 big dogs. So that's kind of my day-to-day. Professionally, I work in innovation and strategy, managing that kind of work currently for CVS Pharmacy. And my job is to bring creative new innovations to healthcare to meet people's unmet needs around things like the cost of healthcare and mental health. And as a person, I'm kind of a little bit of a nerd, I'd have to say. So I enjoy things like anything fiction-wise, anything with time travel or Star Trek or something like that's probably going to be a winner for me. I do improv comedy, and in the summer especially, I've been doing a lot of foraging around Needham. I have found all the best berry spots, of which there are actually a lot in town. So that's been kind of a high spot for me during this COVID year, being home all the time.
And what made you want to be on the school committee this year?
So definitely the things that you mentioned are some of the things that for me, like civically, have wanted me to become even more engaged with the town. I'm really interested in how our town runs and making sure it represents everyone. And also for me, I think there's also this intersection of my professional life and my personal life. So I already talked a little bit professionally about the skills I would hope to bring in terms of management and innovation. And also personally, I really have just a passion around every kid thriving. Basically, there's so many different types of kids with so many different types of needs, and people move here for the schools. And I think we have this just responsibility to help every kind of kid thrive in the Needham schools. Part of this is driven by my own personal story with my family. My younger kid is happy that, he's going back to kindergarten full-time or semi-full-time. My older kid, they really struggled enormously to find a path academically. And we've had a really challenging time. We're in a pretty good place now, but we've explored a lot of things, and we've met a lot of families who have had different kinds of challenges with finding their place academically. And so that really gave me this understanding of how diverse those kinds of needs are, and how we really need to meet them. But we need to meet them in a way that's fiscally responsible. And I think that's only going to be more challenging than ever in this kind of COVID financial environment. And so to succeed there, I really think we need the kinds of management oversight skills and creativity that I do in my day job every day. At the school committee meeting, I don't know if you were there, but there were 12 or 15 parents who spoke really passionately and like with pain, honestly, about how their children are suffering in terms of mental health, being home during COVID. And they had this plea for basically creativity in how do we balance the very real need for physical safety with the also very real need for children's mental health and being in school. And that's the kind of problem that I'm really passionate about solving.
What changes do you want to bring to the district?
I wouldn't say that I have a particular agenda or particular changes that I have predetermined. I definitely have areas that I feel passionate about in terms of prioritizing, things like recovery, both academically and emotionally from the COVID experience, equity, which is about being accountable to things like racial and socioeconomic equity, but also the kind of equity around like I was saying, kind of all the different types of kids, the kids who are accelerated, the kids with special needs, and also really importantly, the kids who are neither of those things. And sometimes I know feel like they kind of fall through the cracks. I had an interesting conversation with Dan Gutekunst about this in the context of reading for our earliest learners, and how the schools have already evolved quite a lot in the past, say, 5 years, where previously reading was a little more one size fits all, and we've made a lot of progress toward matching reading to the precise needs of our learners. I also have a background in technology from MIT, and there's a lot of very exciting, innovative work on how, on models and, educational models that help to really kind of match where a student is in terms of the curriculum, and giving that to them specifically. From conversations I've had with parents, I think there's still a lot of opportunity there, and I've heard some pain points around that. And so I would hope to continue those conversations with the administration, to continue on that fantastic work around reading, and bring that to more areas of the curriculum and to more grades. And I think this creativity around balancing all of those challenging needs with these challenging budget strains, asking questions and having oversight of those kinds of things, that'll be my priorities.
What's your approach to know about those different needs?
Thanks for mentioning my work with Equal Justice Needham earlier. I have seen my role in Equal Justice Needham as really someone who can bring data to the conversation in order to help facilitate bringing people together and alignment among people. And what I mean by that is, when we had a debate on Article 17 in town meeting last fall on the topic of a non-binding resolution on racial equity, a lot of the topic I heard, a lot of the conversation was, well, we don't know what problems there are. We don't know if there's opportunities because we don't have any data on it. And so I thought it was really important to bring data to the conversation. And so I've been leading work with Equal Justice Needham and the town to learn more about things like, what are racial differences perhaps in things like policing in town? Because I really think that you need that sort of data to be able to have a conversation that brings people together with a set of common understanding and common facts. Otherwise, you have people making different kinds of assumptions. But bringing the data together, you can bring people together, and you can start to facilitate conversations that bring together different people's needs and experiences. That's the kind of thing that I do at work. That's the kind of thing that I think is really important on a topic like education, where people are passionate, people have such intense needs, and you might not always be able to meet everyone's needs, but you need to start from a place of understanding. And so with the equity, back to your original, question about equity, it's all about priorities, it's about balancing needs, and it's about understanding those different needs and helping bring those perspectives to the table, making sure people are comfortable bringing those things to the table. And I think so that's what's really important to me, is making sure that all those things are heard.
What's your understanding of the role of school committee, and how do you fit the role?
We have a fantastic school administration. Everyone agrees we have really, really top-notch, from the superintendent on down. And so that's, not my job, would not be my job as a school committee member. But I do think asking these questions and noticing what data perhaps are we not getting. For example, on the policing data, I'm not, ever going to say there's a problem. I'm going to say, I'm going to ask the questions, right? How many people, do we arrest or do we handcuff? And what is the racial makeup? And if that is kind of disparate, let's work together to figure out why that is, because we're all kind of here, I think, for this. We all have the same goals. I think as a town and as a school district, we all want the best for our town. We all want the best for our kids. So I would say my role is that managerial oversight that I do every day. I have experience being on corporate boards. And so the importance of reviewing the budget is something that I have experience with. A budget really is everything. A budget is all of your priorities. It's how you meet it's your strategy, it's your long-term vision. So I have a lot of experience reading between the lines of financials in order to see what does that really mean? Are we fully matching our dollars with our vision? I also think some of the very important roles of the school committee in terms of things like teacher contracts, far down the road, hiring the superintendent, which I hope we don't have to do for a long time. And those sorts of things. I have experience in all of those sorts of areas from a professional point of view.